TIFU by thinking a woman was a boy, and groping her boob. Kind of NSFW, though it happened at work. Obligatory. This actually happened a little over a year ago, and throw away because I don't want people on my main account to know what I do for a living. So, I work for the TSA, and have for a few years now. It's a good job overall. I'm underpaid, but the benefits are nice, and I get overtime when I want it. A little over a year ago, during the week leading up to Christmas, we had some really bad weather that delayed all the flights. I volunteered to stay late so that my co-workers could go home to their families. Most of the work was done anyway, so it was mostly just standing around waiting for the odd latecomer. I was working the space tube thingy, when 3 passengers came up together, a middle-aged man, a middle-aged woman, and a teenage boy. I figure it's a family traveling together for the holidays, and go about my work. Mom goes through, all is fine. Dad goes through, all is fine. Kid comes up, I get a good look at him. Hoodie, sweatpants, shortish hair, smooth face. I figure he's about 13, maybe 14. I hit the button, direct him to wait with me for a moment, and then gesture to the screen, which lit up on his chest area. I tell him that I have to pat that area down. He's a little nervous. I figure that because he's so young, this is probably his first time getting a pat down, but he says okay, and I start the pat down. I do the left side of the chest, and feel some moob, which catches me off guard because he didn't look chubby at all. I move to the right side of the chest, read what's on the hoodie, and it all clicks at once. The hoodie has the name of the local college on it. This is an adult, not a child. He's not wearing sweatpants. She / is wearing yoga pants. She doesn't even know the couple that just came through. I look at her face, which is bright red, my hand is still on her boob, and I pull it back like I just got bit by a snake. I immediately call for my supervisor, who comes over and asks what's wrong, and I explain the situation to her. My supervisor covers her mouth, and at first I thought she was absolutely mortified, but then I realized she's trying not to laugh. She takes a minute to pull herself together, tells me to go take a break, and finishes screening the passenger herself. Once that was done, I apologize to the passenger. She tells me it's fine, that it wasn't the first time she was mistaken for a boy, and she probably should have said something before I started touching her. I leave her alone, and go talk to my supervisor to figure out exactly how fired I am. He tells me to calm down, that it was just an honest mistake, and that she has my back if the passenger files an official complaint, but that probably won't happen, and I shouldn't be worried. That reassured me a little, but I still groped a woman and ruined Christmas, so I feel like an absolute monster. I swallow my shame, and finish my shift. Then I go into the airport proper to find some food, because I just finished a 12-hour shift and there's no way I have the energy to cook dinner. I saw my hapless victim sitting at her gate, waiting for her flight. I went up to her to apologize again, and saw that the flight had been delayed until morning. It was about 11 at night. I apologize again. She says it's fine, and I ask her if she's planning to stay the whole night. She says she has to, all the hotels in the area are booked. Tell her that I'm getting some dinner, and offer to get her some food as well. After all, I already got to second base. I think it's only fair that I buy her dinner. She agrees, and we go to one of the restaurants that is open late, get some food, and start eating. She said she gets mistaken for a boy a lot, and it's not a big deal. I told her about how I had long hair and no beard in college, and at the gym people would frequently walk into the men's bathroom, see me, and do a double take to make sure they didn't walk into the ladies' room. She laughed, and we ended up talking for a few hours, before I finally told her that I had to get home, and apologized again for the accidental molestation. He said that all is forgiven, if I promise to take her on a real date when she gets back. I agreed. She gave me her phone number, and I went home, and immediately started texting her. We kept talking until her flight finally left, and when she got back I picked her up at the airport, and a few days later took her on that date that I promised her. We just celebrated our 1-year anniversary. She has long hair now. TL, doctor, thought an adult woman was a teenage boy, touched her on the boob, everything worked out better than expected. What anime is this? I'm dating someone I thought was a young boy when we met. Backs away slowly. I've been inappropriately touched on my butt by, like, 3 different TSA guys on 3 separate trips through Denver, and not once has any of them offered to buy me dinner. Gotta be honest, I feel a little left out. Molestation is the foundation of all strong relationships. Me and my uncle have never been closer. Grab a boob, and you might just meet your future wife. There's a really cute bartender that works near me, wish me luck. TIFU by placing my cat on a fear-based diet. This fuck up took place over a couple of months and only ended today. Poor kitty. My cat, Chub, well I guess no longer that chubby, has her food bowl in the hallway in sort of a crevice next to under the stairs closet. Usually the closet is used to store cleaning materials and other miscellaneous items, however my very old cat, Ms., became sick and I had to get the transportation box from in there so I could take her to the vet, and I never really got around to putting all of the stuff back in. My old cat sadly had liver failure and had to be put down, so she never came back. After this, Chub was slowly losing weight while also acting a lot more on edge and wanting attention more than usual, and I mistakenly correlated this with the loss of her friend. Until today, when I watched her warily sneak up to her food bowl, eat a couple of bites and run away as fast as she could. At this point in time I realized that the vacuum was right next to her bowl and had been for months. I probably don't have to mention that she is deadly afraid of the wicked contraption. I promptly moved her food into the living room, but I feel horrible for not putting 2 and 2 together. At least she is at a healthy weight now. TL, drive. Without realizing, placed vacuum next to the food bowl for the overweight cat. Cat was afraid to eat for months. Cat lost a lot of weight. You'd think animals would at least realize that the vacuum never turns on without a human nearby. But, no, it's the vacuum cleaner and has only been the vacuum cleaner. Some figure it out. I once left my vacuum out of the closet for a few weeks and my cat figured out that it was only a menace when it was being used. He'll hang out next to it, but scrams the moment I start rolling it across the floor, not even turned on yet. Oh, the poor baby. So glad you figured it out before she wasted away. Me too, I really thought it was just a reaction to being alone. And luckily I always feed her wet food as well, in the kitchen. I thought you were going to tell us that you brought the dead cat home in the carrier and left it in front of Chub's food bowl. That would be a different approach for weight loss in oneself, cats. I'm so sorry for your loss. I lost 2 cats to liver failure some years ago, just 6 months apart. If I were you, I would have your other cat checked too in case they both ate something and one got visible symptoms before the other. Edit, weight loss is also one of the symptoms. This is a good point. I'll look into it, and sorry it happened to you. Or well, I'm glad you realized. And it's probably for the better that your catto is a healthier weight. Also, I'm very sorry for the losses for older kitty 3. So am I, and she definitely was too overweight. And thank you, TIFU, by showing mercy to my son in Monopoly. So, I'm 36M, teaching my son, 9, and daughter, 6, how to Monopoly. The real Monopoly. Not any of special editions either, or the boring millennial edition either. And they actually caught on pretty quick. Early part in the game, my daughter buys Boardwalk and my son buys Park Place. At some point, I introduce the art of trading properties or selling properties to other players. Somehow, they catch on better than I thought, and my son was able to buy Boardwalk off my daughter for $300. With her newfound money, my daughter starts putting houses on the Purple Street, Charles Place, States Avenue, Virginia Avenue. My son, on the counter, buys 2 houses for Park Place and Boardwalk. My initial thought was rookie mistake. The game is starting to come towards the end. With minimal money, my son lands on luxury tax. Rather than telling him you're gonna have to sell your houses from Park Place or Boardwalk to pay the tax, I decided to be lenient, tell him just put all your cash in the bank, which was about $30. Again, the game was winding down, so I figure let's start putting this game away. But then it was my turn and I was on Pacific Avenue. If I roll a 6 or 8, I'd land on his property with 2 houses. But I thought, nah, that won't happen. Threw the dice. Rolled 6. I land on Park Place and my son is demanding rent. $500. I look down and I only have $120 and properties. Told him I can give you all 3 oranges, or do you want cash? His answer: I want cash. So here I am. I'm selling my property to my daughter, mortgaging others to come up with the rest of the owed $500 rent. When I do, he finally says I'll take $400 and you keep the $100. Since you might troll too. I didn't. Then my daughter land on boardwalk with 3 houses and he forces her to pay $1,400. Ultimately, he won the game. TL doctor taught my kids how to play Monopoly, told my son only had to pay $30 of the $200 luxury tax so he didn't have to sell his houses on Park Place. I landed on Park Place on the next turn and he forced me to pay the entire rent. You have made the weak, rookie mistake of showing leniency. Goal of Monopoly is total domination. You should have ripped the little twerp's heart out and insist he sell his properties to pay his debts. Never show mercy. Monopoly is supposed to end with one person smugly victorious, and everyone else in a fit of rage. If the board doesn't get flipped over, that is. I smell a weakling. Also never buy hotels. Buy all the houses so no one else can buy houses and suck them all dry. Capitalism FTW. I must be a communist cause I suck people dry for free. So basically you taught your kid that tax evasion is the way to win. The true American lesson.